So I asked what would happen with him. Would he go to a different facility for kids with special needs, or a special home that would have some therapy or things for him? And she looked me in the eye and said, no, he'll lay here until he dies. The thing that I keep coming back to is I'm not okay with that.
I told Bucky a little bit ago, I said, if God called me to Uganda, he'd have to say it in a very loud voice. I'd want a handwritten note, co-signed by 3 angels that I saw in person. Why would they do that? There's no glory in it. There's no money in it. They're not going to get famous out of it. Why would they do it? Because the love of Jesus compels them to do something that makes no sense to somebody who doesn't know Christ. If you know Jesus, it makes sense to you. What kind of Christ would so fill our lives that we would be willing to give up everything of our comfort, everything of our familiarity, and do something that puts us in the deepest water in which we've ever been in with no lifeboat to return? It takes that for a person to raise his or her hand and say, here am I, Lord, send me.
I would say Uganda is considered a third world country, and this comes with all the things that affect a population in such an environment. There is a lot of poverty, especially in the countryside. Even in the cities, you'll find that when you go into the little slums, you find real abject poverty. People living on less than $1 per month, people going with just a meal in a day.
As you go through the streets and into different towns, the needs arise, and you see so many things that need to be done. Kids that need clothing, kids that need food, family restoration that needs to take place, and it can be overwhelming. I think what we can't do is just look at the problem and say, well, it's just so big. Where would you even start? I think we've just got to start.
Amanya gange zinabwire Bridget n'emyaka 11. Bandetanga mama wange ne tata wange bafa.
The orphan care situation in Uganda is very complicated. Most of the children that are in these boarding schools, which is what they call the orphanages now, have one or both parents still alive. And they're there because, again, because their parents just don't know what to do with them. They don't know how to care for them. They don't know that it's their primary responsibility to raise up the next generation. And they've bought into this mentality that somehow education and this institutionalized living is what's going to bring them out of poverty. I've said all along, institutions don't change kids' lives, families change kids' lives. Even an average dad is better than 4 walls and 20 other boys in a room and one headmaster that helps guide them educationally. Kids need hugs every bit as much as they need 3 square meals a day. In the heart of the city of Kampala, surrounded by high-rise hotels and business office buildings, there's a slum just right there in the middle. And When I say slum, sometimes we in the United States can think of back alleys in New York City or housing complexes and urban centers, and this is nothing like that.
Katanga is a slum, one of the biggest slums in Uganda, but it's in the middle of the city. We have kids, lots of children that don't go to school, children that are parented by thugs, children are parented by prostitutes, children that are parented with parents that have no jobs. And so these kids have faced a lot of problems. They don't have clothes, they don't have food, they actually don't even go to school. A month ago, we had a kid that was raped and killed. And that kid is part of my project because she was trying to hawk bananas on the streets.
Ezabana nazo tusubule embaawo netuzikula kumba netukula kumba ntono kusinza kusaizi andi kati kusinza abaana kati basinga okufa endwadde kusinga ate abantu abakulu.
Kati bwe nafuna olubuto lwa kkalu nga sobola kubeera ku street nenfuna omukazi eyo gye twasabiranga nampa ssente then nenzija mu Katanga nentandika okupangisa. Kale era nkyakolera ku street ne kakati nkolera tubeera ku nnyumba eyo 7 tulimu bantu 9 abaana 7 abakulu tuli 3.
This is one of the houses one of our children is living. The whole family stays here. Mommy, the children. So we see, these are some of the trenches. This is actually sewage. The whole Kampala, this is where they lead the water, the dirty water, the hostels, the good houses lead their wastages here. So it's really a dirty place. We have cholera. When there's an outbreak of cholera, actually, it affects this place first in Uganda. If you've heard of the outbreak of cholera, this is the first place in Kampala it affected. Because this is where they dump feces. Every waste is here. Because we have no toilets in this place. And this is where they dump everything.
Raw sewage flowing through gutters to the point where when it rains hard enough that floods into the homes. I say homes, but they're block walls, pieces of tin leaned against wooden sticks, and children everywhere. Some half-clothed, some with clothing that doesn't fit or ripped to shreds. One of the little kids came up and he had a broken arm and it was all just kind of wrapped up and he whispered into Alejandro's ear, "I'm hungry." You know, you just don't leave those places the same as when you came. I want to help people see that they're so invisible here. People go about their lives and drive through the city and drive past that place every single day on their way to do something else. And that's the way that our entire world is. We're on our way to do something else and never take a minute to look to the right or look to the left and see the best thing that we could possibly do with our lives. You know, this isn't just a ministry opportunity for Julie and I. This is our lives. This is what God built us to do. It's not just a project or some great humanitarian effort. Julie and I could live the American dream. We've got a great family. We've got a great church home that loves us and that supports us. If we could work out the rest of our days in the U.S. in comfort, but I'd be absolutely miserable. I walk through the slum and I don't ask myself the question, how did these people get here? I ask myself, why in the world is this not me? And how disgusting would it be of me to see this, to be called of God to do something about it, to say, man, that's really bad, to feel bad on the inside about it, and to go back home and sit on my couch, watch my kids grow up in luxury and retire. How does a person do that? And so even if my kids are uncomfortable, even if we don't have access to the same medical care and the same school system that kids in America will have, I would take my son knowing what it's like to walk through a slum any day over knowing what it's like to graduate from an Ivy League university and live a nice, comfortable, rich life. If he learns what it is to love people and to see people as people more than he learns how to build a portfolio, I'm totally fine with that. If we reach the end of our days and we have nothing to show for it except a trail of fathers who learned how to break this cycle and how to become dads, and moms who love their kids and raise them to love their kids. It's the best possible life.
We are your hands. We are your feet. Your